Today I'm going to share with you a technique that you can use to effectively manage the thoughts that automatically pop into your mind when you're in the middle of doing whatever you are trying to be your best in. So when you're in the middle of your game or in the middle of your practice or your performance or your rehearsal or your business meeting or your day at work or your date, when you're actually in the middle of that situation and you need to be on right now and you need to be your best right now, so many times thoughts can pop up that are self-defeating and self-destructive and inhibiting us from being our best. And if we don't know how to handle those thoughts effectively, they can become really distracting and they can affect our behavior. They can influence the way that we behave. They can affect our execution of skills so that we're less effective, so that the skills that we have ingrained into us don't flow out of us smoothly. So we have to understand how to handle these thoughts effectively. Here's a technique that'll be very beneficial for you. What you need to do is, before you go into that thing, into your work or your sport or your practice or your rehearsal, write down the thoughts that typically come up for you that try to bring you down. The thoughts that you think are likely to come up in this situation that may bring you down. So it could be a myriad of thoughts. For you, maybe it's something like, I'm not good enough, or I'm awkward, or I don't know enough, or I'm not talented enough, or I don't know what I'm doing out here, or X, Y, or Z thought. Figure out what are kind of the usuals for you. What are the little demons that pop up for you that try to bring you down? And literally just write them out. Write them out exactly as they typically pop up into your head, these sentences. Then, when you're in the middle of this performance situation, as those thoughts do arise, all you need to do is smile. Physically smile, or you can just imagine yourself smiling, either way, but smile and say, I was expecting you. That's it. Smile and say, I was expecting you. And what this does is it takes so much of the power away from these thoughts. Because typically, when our thoughts arise, especially self-defeating negative type thoughts, we automatically give power to them in some way. We see them as direct reflections of reality, or we see them as commanding voices that we need to give heed to. Or we get stuck in a battle against them. We get stuck trying to fight against them and push them away and get them out of our heads. But I often like to compare these negative thoughts to a big sumo wrestler. It's like if you have this big sumo wrestler in front of you and you try to push him away and get rid of him, he's not going to budge. And he's probably just going to come back with a vengeance. And he's going to push you back. And he's going to be violent and aggressive. That's what happens with our thoughts when we try to push them out and get rid of them. They typically just kind of come back with a vengeance. They become more pervasive, more overwhelming. So we don't want to fight against them all the time. But we also don't want to give power to them by just automatically believing them and automatically heeding what they're telling us to do. We need to be in charge of our own lives and our own beliefs and our own actions. So again, simply smile at those thoughts as they arise and say, I was expecting you. And as you do that, you'll notice that all of a sudden these thoughts that typically bring you down so much and have such a strong effect on you will have so much less of an effect. Because simply saying, I was expecting you, helps you to see them as simply sentences that are popping up in your head. Not direct reflections of reality, not truths that you have to obey, and not obstacles that you have to eliminate. And then the next part of this is to direct your focus to this acronym. It's W.I.N, WIN, W.I.N. And that stands for what's important now. Just direct your mind to what's important now. And what that does is it gets you back to the present moment, to the task at hand, and helps you to begin engaging once again in whatever you need to be doing right now to be the best version of yourself on this date, or the best version of yourself in this game or in this practice or rehearsal, right? To be the best version of yourself right now. So instead of being distracted by these thoughts that are coming up, you're focusing on what's important now. And then you're taking action in accordance with whatever is important now. So use this technique. I'm excited to hear how it goes. It's simple, and yet it is very powerful. It's a cognitive diffusion technique. Diffusion means defusing ourselves or separating ourselves from our thoughts so that they have less power over us. So go enjoy this exercise. I'm excited to hear how it goes. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Those are so helpful. So thank you so much for leaving those. And let's go be high performing today.